Hello, I am Tam on the TamBoTC channel, and we're going to talk about everything else Superman. So this will be a more brief video. It does make the previous video called Everything Superman feel like a lie, though I wouldn't be able to talk about much comic book stuff wise, because there's a frick ton. But mostly was movies, television shows, etc. Maybe video games. There wasn't much to say about video games in that one, like Superman 64. There's the one that it's just a bad video on. Can't remember the name of the game though. And then there's like a bunch of like smaller Superman games and such. But I wanted to talk about stuff I didn't get to. I actually had to write some of this stuff down, otherwise I was gonna forget. But thanks to Nostalgic Critic, one of the top Superman movies video, which I think I briefly mentioned, but when Superman, I think along the Superman back in the day, like George Reeves and such, but I don't remember his name. So that was it there, as well as I briefly mentioned. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of animated like Justice League and such films with Superman involved, animated movies. That was pretty much it. So I technically did do all that stuff. I just didn't talk in depth at all about that stuff. So I did not watch everything that has Superman in it. Like, there's still some Crypto movies. There's a couple of Justice League Dark. Brutal freaking movie. Like, really, their movies are less. I did think that movie was a kind of fun watch. Like, Batman looked dope in that. For some of the there's some decent characters. Yeah, really little in it. I just, as much as I did, of course, what it was revolving around, Constantine. And I loved some of the battles and that too. Were really cool. The weird, fricked up cyborg versions of some of the team members, like Wonder Woman and such. It was just such a sad freaking movie. So again, of course, it's the fault of the Flash that this is all fricked up like this. But yeah. There's what else did I watch? I did watch I haven't watched the Superman Batman movie. There's two movies that have Batman and Superman. Mostly just them two. There's Public Enemies and another one. And then I haven't seen War yet. I think I have seen a long time ago that one that has like Ultra like Superman there, whatever the frick he's called. Is it Ultraman? I can't remember. That would be funny because there's already an Ultraman that exists. But yeah, there's that. What the hell? That's my. Okay, that's weird. Guess I'll use that. Why not? But yeah, there's like different Superman versions in some of the other movies I've gotten to see recently. So the movies I have gotten to see, there's War World, Justice League War World, which goes into different scenarios. The first scenario, Jonah Hex is the main antagonist, and Wonder Woman is the one trapped there, and she fights her way out. Then she makes it into a world with Batman, where Batman is like this Viking gladiator dude or whatever. And there's the Warlord. I guess it's part of the Warlord comics or whatever. And they go through this entire like almost Greek mythology kind of setup where they go through a deadly maze and meet a sorcerer at the end of it. There's like a minotaur and all that crap in it too. Pretty cool. And then there was a black and white noir style detective, like Among Us, where like there were characters that are sus, and they have to find out which ones are the truly aliens. But there's one alien that like they run into, turns out to be Martian Manhunter, and they start to get their memories and such back. of who they are because they lost their memories. They apparently got kidnapped by the main antagonist of this film, which was Mongol, and he's trying to find the key. And there's a player, or is that a... Alright. Oh. I think that ziplining guy heard me. Okay. I thought I just saw something out the window running around in the field. Oops. Somebody down there. Alright. They're coming with me. Thanks. Alright, but anyways, I don't know why I'd be quiet in real life when it's a freaking video game. When there's tense moments like that. I guess it's just focus, really. It's like I'm really focused on the scenario. But, yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I liked the art style. There was one Superman movie, Superman Unbound, which I enjoyed it fine enough, but I didn't really care for the art style quite as much as I did others. I don't know, the way they design like Superman and such looked a little just weird to me. Yeah, I didn't really like the designs that time around, art style wise. But I did like Brainiac, and I thought that the way it ended and played out was fitting and pretty cool. But yeah, it's a Superman movie. Not one of the best. Definitely not probably gonna be one that you think of as like a really good Superman movie you'd want to rewatch. I would probably honestly rewatch even some of the bad Supermans, like Superman 4, Quest for Peace. Like that movie's freaking terrible, and but like in a really hilariously bad way, kind of like The Room. But I say but a lot. But jeez, I'm Jeff Goldbluming it up. Goldblum here. That was sudden and right next to me. Yes. Shut up. There we go. Hmm. Let's get going. I think those are players shooting. It's gotta be. Or maybe not. Maybe somebody with a bot or something. I think they're in there. Oh. Damn. Good job. Now I'm leaving. But what's the next Superman thingy? So I did want to talk about, though it's going to be briefly. I think one of his movies was something Moleman. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Kirk Allen's Superman, which was an underrated Superman at the time George Reeves was around, and he brought a lot of personality to the character back in the day. Also, they animated him when he's flying. I think I actually mentioned that once before. I can't remember if it was in that Superman video previously, but yeah. And yeah, I don't really remember this guy, honestly, but after getting to know about him, and especially thanks to that Nostalgia Critic video, he seems like a pretty cool Superman comparatively so to like George Reeves and such. And also, there were several like Death of or Doomsday. I own the Superman Doomsday movie, but there's many Death of Superman movies. And there's a Flashpoint movie, which I think has its own Superman. There's the Evil Superman and Injustice movie and such. All cool Superman, but yeah, once again, I don't have much to say. They don't really use the actors. No one in the Justice League or Justice League Unlimited that played Superman, as well as in the animated series, which I've already talked about. I love Justice League Unlimited, freaking awesome. I actually started rewatching them again. And then starting with Justice League, of course, and then there is what was it? It's freaking. I watched Superman Red Sun, and I thought that was a really interesting movie. I liked the actors in it. I can't believe Oscar Isaacs or whatever, who it was, played Superman. I was just kind of like, wow, that he's not bad as like this Russian interpretation of Superman. It was a pretty cool movie. I did think certain things were maybe rushed, like the whole Batman scenario, but it was still really interesting to see that movie finally, and I kind of liked it. It had a lot of interesting perspectives. The way it ended was pretty cool. Yeah, and it had, of course, Brainiac once again was a big part. Like, it seems like Darkseid and Brainiac are the ones that mostly take over as the big bads of a lot of these movies. So, yeah. And I have finally seen My Adventures with Superman, which I'll probably do a separate review, but just know that I did really like it. And there's a few things to talk about it. It'll probably be brief, though, and it might have spoilers, but yeah. Uh, I think I covered most of the stuff in my notes here that I wanted to. And yeah, Red Sun. There's several Superman movies that were focused on the death of Superman. I haven't gotten to see War, but I got to see War World. Talk a little bit of that, of course. I put down Superman Brainiac movies because I knew he was used quite a few times, and as well as like Unbound. Superman Unbound is one of those. And then of course they made like Justice League Dark movies and such. I talk a little bit about that, but I haven't seen every movie there is, or I have seen them, but it's been a long time since I've seen them, so I don't know if I can give much more input than that on them. So, yeah, that's everything else Superman, mostly related to film and TV show and stuff. When it comes to comic books, there are so many goddamn comic books out there with so many different Supermans and interpretations. It's just too much. It would make for like a 24-hour long video. Probably longer, because there's so many versions of Superman, so many different comic books. There's so many other things you could talk about Superman, like other video games that he's guest appeared in, like some of the ones I played for the channel, or as like more of a side character or one of the main three characters in the game, kind of like DC Universe Online. And then there's like appearances in the Lego movie, the first Lego movie and such. What else is there? And like just his action figures and all that, which I only have a couple of action figures. I used to have some Justice League from the cartoon show, that is the animated series. Justice League Superman figures then, but yeah, my brother is keeping a hold of those. So yeah, and there are other video games that aren't frankly called Superman that have Superman in them. There's this one weird Justice League game I remember that was trying to replicate, I guess, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but didn't do it nearly as good. Kind of like the DC movies or whatever, the Zack Snyder ones. Speaking of that, I saw the Zack Snyder movie by that Nostalgia Critic reviewed, the Zack Snyder cut. I can see his points. I don't entirely agree with everything. I don't think that Justice League movie is nearly as good. The length does get to me a few times. Once again, it has that very pretentious ness to it, that pretentious writing and such that I know Zack Snyder for, and I've gotten sick of him for. Though it's not nearly bad here, it does freaking bring brief moments where there are just really terrible characters ruined even further, like Jared Leto's Joker Returns. It's like, even though it's brief, it still hurts, especially him saying that I'll give you a reach around. It's like, what the frick? Come on, stop. Just stop. What the hell? What are you doing with this character? It's freaking awful. There's just so many other stupid things. I hate that song they sing. It feels like that song that Nostalgia Critic made fun of, the yelling kind of sad woman song or whatever the frick it was he called it that was playing in the Avatar movie. It kind of reminds me of that, and I'm just like, God, it's so in your face and pretentious a moment. It's such a Zack Snyder thing. There's moments like that, and of course the length, like freaking ridiculous. Uh, and once again, like I said with the Man of Steel, also, the other dumb thing, I know that they would probably work very similar in their bone structure and stuff, but I didn't think, like, I don't know why I didn't also think of this with how stupid the snapping Zod's neck thing is. But like, even though they probably have a similar body structure and similar ways to kill them as humans, and they are very similar to humans, but because they're within the limits of the yellow sun, they have the different all the different abilities and stuff. It just kind of seems weird to kill General Zod in a very I guess you can kind of see it as something like, oh, it's a human weakness. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. How did you kill him by snapping his goddamn neck? You take so many ridiculous blows to the head and chest and such. You should have freaking anything broken, and yet you don't. And you have equally the same amount of powers, even though one has gotten to know their powers more than the other. It's still on the same limits and stuff, and I think that would actually say more that Zod is probably hurting the other with too much force, because Superman knows how to control the limit of his strength and how much he's going to put pressure on you with, where Zod does not, and it would technically be even more deadlier in his case. So I don't understand the whole breaking neck thing once again. That just, like, every time that comes up or anything surrounding his Superman comes up, I just think of another thing that just frickin' goes, what the frick? But like, what I was trying to bring up actually about Man of Steel is that even in this Zack Snyder cut, while they're pointless and barely there, I don't like that Lois Lane, the actress that portrays her portrayal of Lois Lane. I don't hate the actress. I'm saying the portrayal of Lois Lane is freaking mediocre, boring, and nothing like Lois Lane to me. She was nothing like her in any of those films. She was just, it's kind of the same problem that Nostalgia Critic also talked about with Mary Jane in the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. It's like almost the exact same problems a lot of the time, it feels like. It's not, it's mediocre. And then, yeah, it's just the cast was mostly terrible for freaking that goddamn movie. And they carried over here too a little bit. But yeah, I don't think I would want to see Zack Snyder after seeing stuff like his Rebel Moon and all his other crap. It's like, he can make some decent films. I do like 300 and Guardians of Gahul, but everything else feels so pretentious. Look at stuff like Sucker Punch and such. It's like, nah. And Watchmen, other than not having the giant squid at the end, is basically note for note the exact same. I think you could technically probably say the same for some of his other movies like 300 and such, but like, it's technically just page for page exactly the same as the comic book, and it kind of makes that feel like a book rendition of a Disney remake in a way, because they also play it safe and do almost page for page everything from the previous movies. But when they do change things, it's freaking stupid. And his change, while it wasn't as goofy as a giant squid attacking the world, it was stupid in other ways. But it was still visually a good movie, and there are still other things about it that did work. The acting, the visuals, the camera, and being close to the comics as it did is like, that's actually almost perfect a rendition, honestly. People probably just want the comics come to life, so maybe that's a good thing. So yeah. But Yeah, that's just me personally. I'm just not a big fan of the Zack Snyder cut of Superman. Or Justice League, sorry, or Superman technically, but like that's just my opinion, and a lot of this is, and the yeah, it's definitely better than the other version of Justice League. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. But goddamn, I don't know. I do kind of wish we could see Darkseid. I will agree with that part. Like, I would love to see Darkseid and such. That would be cool, and especially like in that rendition of him, a live action version. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. There's not much else to talk about that I have or haven't seen. So I think I covered most other things Superman. I will see you next time. I didn't want to stay holding on the main menu here. So you have a awesome day, and yeah, or night, depending on where you are in the world. See ya.